If you want to perfect your game in making okra, making the slimiest okra soup, pay so much attention to this video. I'm going to show you the tricks in making a perfect okra soup that will be very slimy and every member of the family will enjoy it. In fact, okra soup will turn to your best soup, I promise you. Okay, I already boiled my protein with just onions, seasoning cubes, and a little bit of salt. Okay, I felt like doing that off camera because I didn't want to waste so much of your time. So this is already properly cooked. I don't like it when my meat is not properly cooked, so I like to cook it all the way through before I start making my soup. This is goat meat, but you can use any protein of your choice. Okay, I added my stockfish and just mixed everything up together. I also added water. Okay, after stirring it up together and realized everything has incorporated together, I covered it up and allowed it to come to a boil. Okay, so when this was boiling, I added my yellow pepper. See, I don't know how you make your soup without yellow pepper, but if you want, I don't know how to explain the flavor except to tell you to add it. When you add it and taste it, you understand the difference between using yellow pepper to make your okra soup and using your red pepper. Or better still, you can mix the two. I really don't like very hot soup, so that's why I try to go easy with my pepper. After adding that, I also added my crayfish and just stirred it up together to ensure everything incorporates together before I added my palm oil. All right, so I just ensured that I added up the palm oil I felt like was going to be enough for the soup, which I usually eventually adjust if it's not enough. I added a pinch of salt and I covered it up. I allowed this to boil for like 15 minutes before I opened it up and added my dry fish. I usually don't like to add my dry fish earlier on in my cooking so that it won't scatter before the soup is done. Okay, so when I added this, I eventually added my okra. Now this is the twist. If you notice, you can see how thick and slimy this okra is. This okra, I blended it with just water. I blended it. I think I said I blended it, but you get what I mean. I blended it with just water to activate the sliminess of the okra. Now when this is boiling, you want to keep checking it at interval and keep stirring so that it won't get burnt at the bottom part. I forgot to mention that I blended up onions and added, see, this extra onions, it add extra flavor. I don't know how to explain it, but please do not skip this part. Okay, this extra onions is very essential. So just ensure that while you're cooking, you keep stirring at interval so that the bottom part of the soup won't get burnt. Don't worry about the green part of okra being separated from the soup. It will eventually come together. Okay, you just want to keep stirring and allow it to just mix up together and give you that perfect slimy okra. All right, so as you've seen, I just keep stirring at interval to ensure that it doesn't get burnt, because that is where the work is. You want to keep stirring, not steadily stirring, but stir, cover, allow to boil for like 3 to 5 minutes, open it again and stir to just allow it incorporate together with your soup, just to give it that perfect okra look before you add any other ingredient. Okay, so just exercise patience basically. In between stirring, I realized that the palm oil wasn't enough, so I had to add extra, stir it and allow this to come to a boil. Okay, as you can see, you can clearly see that this is already mixed up together. It's not looking more like ogbono soup. Why? This is just okra. This is usually how I make my okra, and there won't be any need for me to add ogbono to it to make it more slimy. You get what I mean? So at this point, I realized that my okra has incorporated together in the soup. As you can see, you can't see that greenish part again. Okay, now I added salt to adjust. If you notice, I barely add salt to my food. I add very little because I want to go low on my sodium intake. But if you really do not mind, you can add more salt. Salt is usually at your discretion. Okay, now it's time to add our chopped up okra, because you still want to be seeing that okra in your soup. Okay, now I'm adding up my chopped up okra, and usually when I add this, I don't allow this to sit for a very long time before adding my vegetable and bringing it down to from the fire, because remember, okra is a vegetable and you still want to have a taste of that freshness of the okra while you're having your okra soup. So I allowed this to boil for like 3 to 5 minutes before I opened it, stirred it up to ensure that the bottom part of it wasn't burnt, and then I introduced my vegetable. For this particular soup, I made use of ugu. Some people do add uziza to theirs. I mean, it's optional, but for me, I enjoy it more when it's just ugu in it, so that's why I had to add just ugu. But if you prefer to add any other leaf, this is time to add your vegetable, so you can as well put any vegetable of your choice. Now after adding the ugu, I stirred it up together and ensure everything incorporated together. Note that immediately I added the ugu leaf, I turned off the heat because I don't want it to, to get soft. I wanted to still get that freshness when I'm eating my okra. And that's it. This is how we make our very perfect slimy okra, as you can see. I'm hoping you will try this, okay?